Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to video number 10 in the drawing series with Dees. And I just want you to know that this is a super important one. We're going to learn how to make a value scale, is what I call it. Some people call it a grayscale. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of echo in the sound of this video. It's because I am not that great at being technological. I'm a great teacher, as I might have mentioned before, but when it comes to tech issues, I have them sometimes. So if you're an amazing video editor out there in the world, and you're trying to team up with me, let me know about that. Otherwise, just go to the video. Sorry about the sound, but I promise the information that's in there, solid gold. And it's not like you can't understand it, it's just a little weird sounding. It sounds like I'm powering up or something. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. D, world's greatest art teacher, world's greatest teacher in general, here to take you to the next step on learning how to draw. Remember, what I decided to do was I was just going to put together everything I learned in 15 years of teaching art and give it out for free to just teach people how to actually get better at drawing. I got tired of people thinking that it was either a magical talent you were born with or not born with, so I put together the most basic steps, all the way from drawing lines, which we did, all the way through the shapes, and now we're working our way up to something called value, which you might know as a grayscale or light to dark fades, gradations, any kind of name like that you might know for it. One thing that you'll notice today is that I am going to be using two different pencils. I like to use these are 2mm mechanical pencils, and you'll see, if you can see it, this one is an HB and this one is a 4B. The more B's something is, the softer the lead is, so the more of it that goes down on the paper, so the darker it shows up. So HB is right in the middle, and then a high H is really light, HB is right in the middle, a high B is really low. So why does that matter? Because today we're going to be drawing something. We're going to be making ourselves a grayscale, or a value scale, as I like to call it. And it's going to look something like this. You can feel free to draw yours with a ruler if you want to. I prefer being ready to rock and roll. So there we go. Mine's ready to go. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide it in half. I'm going to look for what about half is. Half is about here. That looks good. And divide each of those sections in half. In half. In half again. In half. In half again. So now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is my value scale. Now, what are we going to use this for? We're going to learn how to shade things. We're going to learn how to make everything as beautiful as we possibly can. We're going to see if we can create a move from the white of the paper to the darkest dark that we can possibly make. And we're going to see if over the course of it making that change, we cannot make there be any big jumps. So we want it to be like a nice little move, little move, little move, little move, little move, little move, little move. Sometimes people do 10, 12, 25 to make it even smaller moves, but I think with 8 we can get there. So we know the first one is going to be the lightest possible. So we're going to put light here and dark here. Now, I said earlier, I have a light pencil and a dark pencil. So what am I going to do? I know what my lightest light's going to be. My lightest light is just going to be this. It's just going to stay here like this. And then I know my darkest dark is going to be the darkest thing that I can make here. So I'm going to fill this in with the darkest dark that I can make. I'm going to color in that box. Okay, so that being said, I know that I want my about halfway point to be as dark as my light pencil can go. So I'm going from the white of the page, and then some. I'm going to do my 5, number 5, as dark as this pencil can go. And this is an HB, so it's a little lighter than your average pencil. Like number 2 pencil would usually be a 2B from what I have researched. And there we go. So you see, there's a difference between here and here, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way. I'm going to go halfway from this 5 down to the 0, and I'm going to go about half as dark as this. What's half of this? So One tip that I can do to make it lighter is called varying my pressure. You can move your hand back, and the more you hold it like a paintbrush like that, the lighter the less control you have, but the lighter you're going to be able to press. A lot of people, especially young people, have trouble pressing light with their hands. They always wind up drawing dark. That is a great tip, to move your hand back on your pencil in order to make it lighter. Shout out Adana H. from Anne Arundel Community College. Taught me that about 20 years ago in a class. Now I can just sort of start filling in the gaps. I know I need to be a little bit darker than 2, but I know I need to stay lighter than this. So I'm going to go right where I was. I'm just going to move down just a little bit on my pencil, get a little closer to the tip so I can press a little bit harder. And I can go right just shy of this next color here. And maybe as I do this, I'm saying, oh my gosh, that's the same as my 5. So now I need to go see if I can make my 5 a little bit darker. Because I don't ever want it to go, getting lighter, or getting darker, getting lighter, getting darker again, because that'll throw off the whole fade. And the whole point is to trick the viewer's eye. So get this a little darker, pressing just as hard as I can, going over it a second time, so really filling in any little teeny tiny gap that I might have missed. And now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start off with this. And you probably guessed it, after I'm done filling this in one time with this color and getting it so that it matches the 5, what's the only way I can get it darker? I gotta use that darker lead. So now I can layer that over top, but just a little bit. I'm kind of going to do with this pencil what I did with the other pencil here, but I'm going to do it over top of this. See, it gets that just a little bit darker. And now what I want is to do this again as a nice base, and then I'm going to put this on until I can make a gap in between these 2 colors. You see right now it goes darker, lighter, way darker. I want it to go darker, darker, darker. But I can't make it darker than this, or else then I'm really messing myself up. And then I just like to come back in down here and do just the lightest little fade out. I don't like there to be that big jump from gray to nothing. So I do it so that it fades out, and I look for anywhere that there might be a jump, and I try to blend it in so that there's no big jumps in value change over the course of this. You don't want to go from like medium gray to super dark gray ever. You always want it to be just a little darker on the next one, a little darker on the next one, a little darker on the next one. And you want to make sure, the rule always, the number one way that you can tell whether you're doing this right or not is whether or not it goes all the way from the white of the page to the darkest thing that you can make. And that is what we did. This is what I want you to do. I want you to practice this at least 10 times. It's really important. It's the most important thing, so I would probably just fill this whole page with them, flip my page over, fill the next page with them. If you're trying to apply for a magnet school, to an art college, to anything like that, there is no one who's going to say, ew, look at how often this person practices their value scales. Gross. We don't want somebody like that going to our school. That's just not a thing that's ever going to happen. You're going to be able to figure it out. People are going to see that you're trying this, and they know if you ever want to draw something real, you need to know how to do this. And just that you are someone who basically, this is like going to the drawing gym. You're building those skills, you're building that base of muscle so that whatever you want to do, it's like a sport, right? You go to the gym and you get strong. You go to jumping, you get strong back, strong legs, all that sort of stuff. And then whatever sport you want to play, that stuff's going to help you. This is the same with art. This is going to the gym for art. Learning things like this and practicing the lines and the shapes that we already practiced and the forms that we'll get to, that is the stuff that will genuinely make you better. If you want to put in reps and get better, this is how you grind on art skills. That being said, that's all I got to say for today. You're welcome as always. Please smash like, and I hope that you've been watching all the way through. If you haven't, go back to the beginning and catch up, and then keep watching as we go through, because by the end, you're going to be able to do whatever you want to with art. You're going to be done at the art gym with old Mr. D. Your homework is very simple for this one. You got to take this thing that you just learned how to draw, the value scale, and you got to practice it 10 times. 10 times. I don't know how many pages it's going to take, probably 2 or 3. But you got to draw it 10 times. I want to see that practice. And everybody else that you're ever going to talk to about your artwork is going to want to see that practice too. Let's get it done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last thing that I wanted to say. This is going to be at the end of every video, I do believe. When you are done with your homework, take it on over to the Discord and turn it into the art submissions. We want to see what you're working on. I will pop in from time to time, usually around 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't get weirded out by that. And I will give you feedback on the work that you have done. So make sure that you check the link below so that you can get to our Discord and you can join these submissions and start putting your art out there for people to see, give you feedback, help you get better at. I got a bunch of artists that have already gone through my class that hang out in there, and if you think you're going to do something funky, you're not, because my mods are going to get you. You understand what I'm saying? I might be a boomer, but my mods are powerful zoomers. I'm not challenging you, though. Please don't mess with please, just be nice. Just do the artwork.